but we are spending our time watching other people live their dreams. What if we were to take back some of that time and start actually living ours or moving in the direction of it? You are possible. That is it. If you recognize that you are the key to everything, then you start to see your possibilities. If you think it's in everybody else's hands, then you're always going to see that it can't happen because I'm waiting on this person or that person. But actually, you are possible.
Welcome to Another Door podcast. Another Door is a place that you come to when you're rethinking your work, whether it's job loss, a career change, or you just want to rethink how you are doing your work right now. Come and find us at anotherdoor.co.uk. On this episode, I have Madeline McQueen. Madeline is a force. Just listen to any of her talks, watch any of the YouTubes, just follow her on social media and you will get the energy. She has a very heart-filled story about when a door closed for her. She talks very honestly about her corporate career and the door closing for her in a very personal way. But you will get strength from listening to how she dealt with what happened to her, how she moved on, and now what she's doing. She runs a very inspiring movement called the Compass Club, helping people to find their way. But she's also an amazing speaker on sales, selling without the icky stuff. And if you're a person who is maybe starting something new or you're having to get yourself out there, she's a great person to follow. Let us know if you enjoy what we're doing. Please leave a review. Here is Madeline McQueen. The thing is, Madeline, you've got stories to tell. And this is what this is all about, storytelling. And many doors, actually. I've heard you talk about many different doors, opening, closing, changing your life. So yes, let's start. Have a quick intro first. Give a quick intro for people listening. Who are you?
I'm an award-winning executive coach, speaker and trainer, Forbes featured in all the things that people kind of think make matter. And I work mainly with women to help them on their clarity, their confidence, their empowerment so that they can thrive. And I work a lot in the advertising industry. I work in finance. I work with pretty big companies. I work with tech. My role is helping people reconnect with themselves so that they can leverage their personal development for professional success. That's what I do.
I also really, really want you. Can I share what I really, really want you to also be, which is like number one sales coach guru in the world is where I really want.
About letting me go on this one. I'm an author and I'm currently, so I do have a couple of books already that are self-published. The Magic of Motivation, 7 Steps to Get Your Mojo Back. And then the book that Eleanor is now literally just hounding me about is called Close That Sale, 7 Steps to Close the Sale and Make More Money. And that is all about how you close sales so that you can stop leaving money on the table and actually get your clients to take you more seriously and make more money in the process. So that's what that's about. Eleanor's got a whole process for me of what she wants me to do, how she wants me to work it, what program I now need to develop. Honest to God, she's given me a whole proposal about what I've got to do for this. So there's that. And then currently I am on Hay House Publishing's Diverse Wisdom Program, which is about supporting diverse women of colour to be able to get published because there's a real issue about them not being published. I'm also the founder of the Compass Club, which is all about women professional women in leadership being able to access me in a way that allows them to also access community and again for them to be able to grow. Mum of 2 girls, one 25, one about to be 21. I am the wife of one man, David McQueen, many of you may know, and I am mad by name, mad by nature.
And we might touch on some of this when we chat, because
Oh,
that is so much stuff, isn't it? We're a little bit the same, as in we've got like ideas and stuff and everything.
yeah.
And then actually, to me, doors closing aren't just always big life moments. Sometimes they are. Like, you've inspired me this week. You close little doors to make space to breathe, and I love that. So yeah, that's a lot. You do so much, and it's so amazing. But maybe we'll chat about that later in our conversation, because
I do have a couple of boards, so that some of that's changing. But yeah, so
yeah, so much. And then you've got your 24-hour Lord of the Rings to fit in. I mean, honestly,
yeah, that's coming to a screen near you soon.
So another door. What we love on this podcast is hearing those stories, as I say, because I think we all have these moments when a door closes and it creates space for something new, but maybe we don't acknowledge it. Maybe we don't see it in that way until afterwards, or even at all. So that's what we're sharing. So Madeline, let's start with your another door moment, that door closing. Where are we going to go today?
So I used to work for a company called Micro Warehouse. So my background is in sales. It's IT sales. I was kick-ass. I'm going to be honest. I was good. And I know, there's that whole thing about not using, like, we only use 10% of our brains. I don't even think I was using that, but I was doing really, really well. And I knew it. Like, I was like, man, if I was to really ramp this, I literally could be great, super great. I mean, I was great. I was in the top 3 salespeople every month. I moved from being a corporate account manager, so dealing with corporate sales. I closed the largest deal they'd ever had in the UK. I think across actually the company across the world, which was a 2 million deal with a company called Schlumberger, which is a big oil company. I sold the most Toshiba laptops in the UK, I think in the year of our Lord 2000. And they sent me and my husband to Dubai on holiday, 5-star holiday. I got promoted to manager and I had a team. And that was a real challenge, because having a team, you're no longer in control of your commission. Like, these, you're messing with my commission, mate. You don't do your job. Yeah, I remember having that thought, really being frustrated. And I did get some support, and that helped me to be a better manager, to understand how to help those people achieve what I needed them to achieve. And I had my first child, and I planned on that being my only child. I was like, I ain't doing that again. C-section, emergency C-section. It was traumatic. Anyway, what happened was I was struggling initially, and then my manager changed, and that changed everything, and I was doing quite well. But it was very stressful. And sometimes I was getting home, like, because my manager the original manager was calling me up, or my director was calling me up and at 10 o'clock in the morning going, your figures are shit. That's literally what he say. And it was because nobody did, and this is very common in organizations, they move somebody from being a peer to now being a leader, but nobody's given them any guidance, help on how you do that. And so that was very distressing. I would go home very, very stressed. Couldn't talk to my child, couldn't talk to my husband. Anyway, I got pregnant. And also just the understanding around children is just not great. Like, when my daughter was being ill, but like, you can't be off. And so it was like, drop off my child at the childminder, who would drop my child off at nursery, who would pick my child up from nursery, who then I'd pick up, and, meeting at 6 o'clock in the evening. So then I'm not getting home till after that, all of that kind of crazy stuff. And I was doing well. I mean, I got to the point where I was doing well. I was doing like 120% of target with my team, because I learned that I needed to look after them like I would look after my clients. But it was still super, super stressful. And I got pregnant. Second child, because I was saying I wasn't going to have another one. But then I realised, no, my daughter needs a sibling. So, like, she's got nobody to play with. I was super excited. But obviously still going through a very stressful experience. And then what happened was I was out. I'd gone to drop somebody off to their house, popped in or whatever it was, and I felt a cramp. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I got home and I had more cramps. And then I went to the toilet and I was bleeding. And I had a miscarriage, and it changed everything. Because I realized how much I wanted my baby. Not that I didn't want my baby, but I really, you realize how much you want your baby. There is no explanation as to why this happens. And I was devastated, absolutely devastated. I went to the doctors, we'd gone to A&E, so to get a scan to see, did I still have a viable baby? And the answer was no. And so it was like, do I need a D&C, which is the scrape they do. And you think about what women go through, and so much of it's so inhumane. It's so inconsiderate. It's so Neanderthal, actually, in its
processed.
Like it's not progressed. But actually, when I got back, I know that I passed my baby. And I went to the doctor, and my doctor at the time, we always talk about this. He was sitting there chewing gum, and he was just like, go again. Your body's ready. You're both primed for pregnancy. Just go for it. And most people will go, wait 3 months. Or he's like, no, if you want to have another baby, then just go for it, which is how my youngest came about. But I thought, enough. Losing another baby because of the stress. And I literally went in to work. So I'd been off for a little while. I went into work after being pregnant when I found out I was pregnant again. And I sat down with my manager. I was 3 months. And I said, I think maybe I was 11 weeks. I don't know. And I just said, I'm pregnant and I'm resigning. And I'm not going to lose another baby over this. And so I didn't wait. I had 3 months notice. It didn't take me to the 11 weeks, or however it worked. I would have had to waited a little bit longer for me. And I said, no, I'm not waiting. Screw mat leave. It wasn't that I was wealthy. I wasn't. I was just like, my baby is more important than the money. And so I left. I didn't know what I was going to do. What I wanted to make sure I did first was have a healthy baby. And then I was like, the rest will work itself out. And so that was my another door moment that I'd like to share.
Yeah, incredible. And it's so fascinating, your story. That's why thank you so much for sharing, because it's probably a story people can resonate. But how many times do we actually hear people talking in that way about it? Are you looking for somebody to help you rethink your work? Are you looking for somebody who has got something to say, something different? Perhaps you're creating an event, you've got a conference coming up, and you're looking for speakers or workshops that really get people rethinking. Check out our platform with fresh new voices and people who've got something to say. Come and see us at recommended.anotherdoor.co.uk. Your story, it kind of touches me because it's actually two doors. Like the first one was actually a positive door. It was promotion. How exciting, amazing. I'm flying. Like we have all these things like, oh my God, I'm hitting this next ladder, the next run. And so actually the door closing was, now I'm going to be this big shot. But what happens in that space is not what you want. And then, as you say, you've got to another point where you're more clear on what you want and you take that brave decision. So how did it feel? Because closing a door, was it a big call? Was it so clear? It can be challenging for people.
I think for me, I was just like, I've always been the person, some people are like, you need to get another job before you leave. I've not quite always been that person, because I've always been, if it's this painful, why would I want to stay? But I've always been an optimist. So that's that's always worked in my favor. But for me, it was just, once I found out I was pregnant, I was like, hell no. There is no way I'm going to put my child and myself, to be fair, at risk or go through that kind of pain, again. And so it was an easy decision. We sat down and we spoke about it, and I said, I cannot lose this baby again because of the level of stress that I am under. And that stress isn't going to change because you've got to hit that target. That target needs hitting. And also you're dealing with personalities all the time, especially when you run a team. You've got those people who listen and do what they need to do, and they're hungry. And you've got those people who aren't so hungry. And I sometimes was getting some of those people, And so for me, it was like, what's the priority here? And I think that's a word we don't always use. And I think we attach priority to, well, the priority is paying the bills, the priority is money. Actually, those things are super important, don't get me wrong. But actually, the priority is your mental and physical health. Because without that, none of the rest matters. You can't do the rest. And so for me, that was the priority, my mental and my physical health, and the physical health of my baby. That made it an easier decision. I mean, I will not lie. It was the beginning of a roller coaster ride of struggle. But if you would say to me, would you do it again? The answer would be yes. Absolutely. Irrevocably, yes.
Yeah. I'm going to pick on something you said there, fascinating, about what people say when you've made a decision, especially changing your life. They say this, they said that, people said I should be doing this, I should be doing that. How much did that start playing into your thinking?
I mean, my thinking about it was, because once I say I'm done, that's it for me. So I didn't care. But what I do remember is just, the comments that people make that they don't recognize how painful sometimes they can be. I never forget somebody saying, I won't say who, but I remember somebody saying to me, oh, well, maybe next time you won't talk about, because I was at 9 weeks, maybe you won't be so vocal about being pregnant. And it's like, wow, you don't understand how hurtful that is, because it's an exciting thing, but it's not always for everybody. But, if you're excited about it and you're in the right position for it, then it is exciting. So how do you say those things? And then it's like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to live? And it's like, none of your damn business. I mean, I've always kind of been a bit like that. And I think that, don't get me wrong, once I had left, there's an identity crisis that happens. I have a number of Google clients, and, there is an identity crisis that many of them are going through that I can truly relate to. Like when you've worked for a company for a long period of time, and it becomes how you define who you are. Your job title defines you, the company, oh, I'm Madeline, I'm a leader at micro warehouse. It's like, that's the thing that you say at the dining room table when you're, sitting at a dinner party, or when you've gone out and met people. Like it becomes a definition. And so the challenge then, after I'd made the decision, and then once I'd left, was, who am I? Who am I? And what will they think of me? And you have to get to the point where you go, it doesn't matter what they think of you. You cannot define yourself by your job role, your job title, because you are so much more than that. Yes, I appreciate you might do 5 days or 6 days of a 7-day week, but it's not who you are. It's one of the things that you do.
And were you worried at all about, because this high flying professional, like killing it, absolutely killing it in the sales team, and now you've given it up to be a mum? Were you worried about that? What am I now? Am I just a mum? Did that just come in?
Definitely. Like, I never forget. So I used to be the chair of the, like, because I just can't help myself. So I was the chair of the PTA. So, sell the most.
Oh, of course you were.
The PTA that year, when I was chair, we
Smashed its targets.
literally, like it was, you can't stop that part of who you are. And so, and then, sat on the governing, but like in school, everybody knew who I was, right? Um, and I never forget one time. So obviously you've got a number of women, other people are working. I was at school a lot. And I never forget the headmaster saying of somebody else, oh, well, yeah, she can do it because obviously she works in da-da-da-da. And I had to turn to him and say, mate,
I am going to be the number one sales coach in the world.
But I had to say to him, because I recognise your identity, it did impact me and my identity. And I had to say to him, what you may not know about me is I used to be responsible for £14 million worth of sales a year. So don't talk to me like I don't have business acumen, because we wouldn't be where we are if I didn't. But also, just because I'm an at-home mum doesn't mean I don't bring value. And I think what happens is, certainly for a lot of at-home mums or people who are home for a while, is so much of their gravitas, their kudos is eroded because, I'm an at-home mum. I think at-home mums are badass. I know what they have to do. Like, I've done it. There is so much to do. When you've got 2 kids, I mean, I can't even get my head around my mother having 6, like, Jesus. But it's you've got, and that my children are 4 years apart. So you're looking at get up, take both, get ready, there's kids ready, get them to school, come back. And depending on whether or not you've got morning or afternoon, what's it called, preschool, then you might be there for the morning, then you've got to go back. Like, you got back at 9 o'clock, 9:15. You're back out at 12 to get the other one to, you can't do much. Then 3 o'clock, you're back out again to pick up the other one. It's just a constant. And then none of the tasks are difficult. It's just how many tasks there are and how many times you have to do it. The washing is never ending. The everything is never ending. Somebody needs feeding almost every moment of every day. And so there's a lot of work to do, that you're holding a lot together, as well as still going, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I? So I have a lot of respect for at-home mums. And people think, I know people who tried it and couldn't do it. Get back. Like, it's work. But you do have that little voice that goes, well, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
Mum.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting stigma to that. And as you say, we kind of go, oh, yeah, you're just kind of, lounging around watching Lord of the Rings all day or something,
Ooh, nice segue. I love that.
But, you're right. It's such it's a social thing, isn't it? We haven't done a good job there of creating that environment of actually acknowledging how much there is there. And you're right, eat, sleep, repeat, like just constant that.
And then it's World Book Day.
Oh, don't even talk about that, because that's coming up and I'm stressed. I've missed World Book Day for the last 7 years. And she's 8. So, even though I put it on my calendar, I put big notes, and then I just go,
get a costume. You got to get a costume. And then it's like, oh, we're doing a wear your own clothes day, or we're doing a this, or we're doing a that. And it's another costume. And, things just don't do Halloween. And if you're not a Halloween person, then you've got to have a conversation about the fact that, my child doesn't do Halloween. That is, it's just like school play. Yeah. Well, instrument, gym club, this club, robotics club. It's just netball. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And the skills that you have to do that level of multitasking and be on top of it. You've got the moms that you just hate. Like, oh my God, are you really doing origami with the math school? How do you organise that? I hate you.
I definitely have quite a lot of those moments where people are like, oh yeah, they do the gym and they do the this and then they do horse riding and I'm thinking, oh my God, like if I remember to pick my daughter up, that is a good day. If I am not chatting away to someone on my podcast, like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I need to pick her up. Like, that's a good day. But yeah, oh, you're right. I've got a funny story when I was, because we move around the country a bit. So when we were at certain points in a military base, shall we say, my daughter went to the school there. And I was working in my defense, but I just forgot everything. Like, I just couldn't keep up. And then they used to send letters and they used to... Anyway, my daughter came home one day with a sticker and it said, tomorrow it's Christmas jumper day. And I was like, oh my God, the school's so good doing that. And then there was another thing like, oh, tomorrow is disco day or whatever. And we were all sitting around one day at this mum's thing for coffee. And I was like, they were kind of, bitching a little bit about school. And I was like, yeah, but it's really good because they like do these little stickers. It's so helpful. And they were like, no, that's just for you. That was just their thing. And I was like, that is such a good thing.
But I think it's a very real experience for a lot of parents. The pressure of having to create and be creative and to think about all of these things and then to get costumes. And if you are, struggling or if every penny counts, ordering a costume is a lot of money. And then obviously there's the competition and, you buy the cheap one and it's just string, basically. It's really bad material. And it's just like, I never forget when I first bought a costume and I was like, wow, I bought a costume and it wasn't great, it wasn't, but hey, I bought one, but I was making stuff. I was having to come up with stuff, and it's a lot of pressure when there's so many other things to do.
Yeah. And that's the whole challenge, isn't it? So you're not only going through a crisis of like, who am I? What was I actually doing? Was that me doing all that sales? Now I'm trying to make a cow outfit out of a cardboard box. What the heck? What the hell just happened?
Yeah, but I've made uders because I can't work out how to make uders.
Toilet roll, surely toilet roll.
Hey, see? I mean, why are we doing it?
Just text. No, toilet roll. Pink, it's fine. But then it's not where you are now. So this is the bit in the middle, the messy bit in the middle of like, you got to do what you got to do. And you shouldn't have pressure in that space, as you say. Like, that's the biggest work, I think. Like, take the pressure off yourself. Maybe not to the extent where you get bloody stickers from your teacher. Maybe that was taking a little bit of pressure off myself, but take the pressure off. But then there's a moment that the next door's going to open. And so what was the moment there that you were like, okay, I'm done now. I'm ready for chapter 6.3. Let's bring it on.
I mean, I think, like you said, it's so true. There's been lots of doors that opened and closed. And I mean, my first door was, I want to do something. I'm going to run my own business. I want to do something because I never want to be in this situation. I'll never forget this, where my daughter had diarrhea, she was a babe. This is the oldest, the baby, really sick. And I'm having to take her to the childminder's taken to the nursery, calls and says, your daughter's really ill, you need to come and get her. And my boss being really, what, again? She's sick again? And I remember going in the toilets and crying. And I said, I never want to have to do that again. And so I thought, okay, what can I do? The company that I'd actually sold to, some of them had contacted me to say, hey, we're planning on doing this. Would you get involved? And so then it was like from a point of view of some like sales, business advice, that kind of thing. And so I started doing some sales business consulting. That's where I started. Bits and bobs, started to run my own business. I joined Academy. And then I ended up being I took on the little role, that side role of being Academy's customer service, like managing the network and dealing with disputes. But then I was also doing some other things. I went to Wealth Dynamics, which is, I can't remember what his name is now. But anyway, I went to that and it's like realized I was a star personality and okay, this is what are the things that I can do. And I just started doing more businessy things. And I was doing more sales, but I was finding it was going into more less sales, more business. And then over time it became, and also then I was supporting David, so my husband, and at the time he was doing a lot of work in schools or he was getting speeches, and I'm like, okay, where's the invoice? And so I started doing all like the back of like, did you invoice them? Where is the booking form? Where is, and I was doing a lot of that stuff. And then eventually I just said, okay, I'm just gonna really go for this. And I started doing a lot of consulting. And again, because these were different doors opening, opening different doors. And then I started to realize, and this had been a thread, which is confidence that kept coming up, but I wasn't sure, like I could put my hand to many things, jack of all trades, master of none. And so I was like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? I didn't know. And so in the end, I just said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on confidence. And because in working with business owners, that's what I was having to do. Like it wasn't, yes, there were processes that we were looking at in sales, but actually I was having to spend a lot of time building them up and helping them build themselves up so that they could see the potential within their business. And what I recognized was, look, if you don't understand the potential that your business has or have confidence in yourself and what your business can do, then you're actually undermining your business on a daily basis, which is why it's not thriving in the way that it actually can. And so from there, eventually I was like, this confidence thing is my thing. And I said, okay. And I did a coaching course and I was doing a lot of self-development, a lot of reading, all the different kinds of who moved your cheese and anyway. And all of these books.
Those bloody mice.
So I put myself a standing knife. I keep talking about it and I'm really anyway. I have a lot of tools, honestly. Okay, so very, very quick digression, or whatever the word is. I don't have it. I don't want it. Is I'm the youngest of 6 girls. My dad died when I was 10, but even still, he was very much, you've got, if somebody like was bullying us, who's like, you've got hands. He was that kind of guy. And my mum, when my dad died, because he died when I was 10, she was very much, you all need to be independent. So we learned she made us learn everything, like how to change a light bulb, how to change a plug, she was like, you got to know how to do stuff. So I have several toolkits, like not one, there's one in the car, there's several at home. And I was the one who took my dad's toolbox. I sent my children to university with, IKEA toolkit. And my sister's like, because she's a university lecturer, well, she's like professor. She's like, why are you sending your kids over? I'm like, because they need to have their own stuff and they need to know how to do things.
And they'll need a spanner.
Like right. And like my daughter called me the first 2 weeks. She's like, Mum, I've already used the toolkit. And I'm like, yeah. So like, and then like my other daughter, when she went to university, she's like, Mum, I got the toolkit out. And everyone's like, how do you have these things? But like, because my mum is like, you have to have this stuff.
That's so funny. But that's a good metaphor, though. I love that because you're creating toolkits for actually self-belief and.
No, definitely. And it's like, it is a toolkit's the main thing. And, so I segued into executive coaching and coaching leaders because I'm working with business owners. I might as well work with the leaders. And it's the same issues. It's self-belief. It is the, I've fallen into this. I don't know what my own pathway is. In fact, I'm not even realigned or I'm not holding my boundaries. Working exceptionally hard to prove their value because your value is in everybody else's hands and rather than your own hands. So, and I love this. I truly love this work. But I don't think that it'll be I think that there'll be another door because I love property. Like, we were talking about our X-ray vision. So it's like, and now we're doing a renovation ourselves. And it's like, okay, all those programs I've watched, I'm now seeing it in real time. Oh, could I do this again? Yeah, I've got great traders. I could do this again. So I think that there are, when we look at, because obviously we've been talking about things like Lord of the Rings and Marvel and all of those sorts of things. I love these things, right? I love the idea of multiverses. But I think for us, and if anyone's ever read the Midnight Library, and if you haven't, definitely feed it. It's about, there are so many doors. And I want people to see that literally it's mindset. You can change, segue, whenever. So when I'm hearing people like, this is the job I do, how could they take this away from me? I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm almost like, it's really sorry to say, but more for you, because there are so many other doors. You can train, you can learn to do something different. I love it when people go, yeah, I left my job in corporate and I'm now in tech because I learned how to code, or I learned how to do this. And I wanted to do, actually, I realized I fell into a job because it was the first job I got from uni. And then I got a promotion. Then I got headhunted. Then I got this. Then it's like, okay, so what do you really want to do? Well, actually, I want to do fine art, darling. And, I'm very good at that. And so it's like, well, go do fine art then. Like, life's short. Don't get stuck. Sorry, I'll get off my pedestal.
Please don't. Just keep going.
I just think there is so much that you can do. There's so much that's possible if you will open yourself up, and you'll go, well, that sounds good. It's a bit woo-woo. And actually, yeah, it is. And it's true. Yeah. It's true. Like, I know they'll come. I've now opened a club for women because I wanted to do one-to-many. I didn't want to just keep doing one-to-one. Like, this year is all about out there speaking more, because I love being on stage, doing more podcasts like this, because I want to share the message. And so I'm segueing again, still in my lane, but segueing, and I'm opening different doors because I can. And my big message is, you are not a tree. You're not rooted and grounded to the floor with roots as tall as your body. You can get up and move anytime you want. Like, literally. Like, I love it when people say, yeah, like, like, obviously both of us are on Jessica Huey MBE's Purpose Academy. And, I love that a couple of years ago, she picked herself up and her son and moved to Jamaica. Yeah. That's where I want to live. That's where I feel good. Good for you. Like, some of us are living in places we don't like. Like, you can change that. You can change that. There's nothing stopping you getting up and moving. And if you've got a whole range of buts, but this, but that, I'm just going to let you know, I created this acronym last year and I'm so proud of it. And that is that buts are blessings under threat.
Love it. Blessings under threat.
Blessings under threat. Like, you are stopping your own joy and your own blessings because you will not let go of the buts, right? Of the why you can't. What if you were to focus on why you can? Like, my God, what could you create?
Yeah.
And if somebody else has done it, so the hell can you? Now, to be honest, we also have to recognize there is not everyone's going to be a Steve Jobs and a, Jeff Bezos or a Mark Zuckerberg, as I call him. That's just because it's not possible. But I think you also have to recognize that sometimes people have had legs up and we like to talk about them like they haven't. But it doesn't mean to say, there's lots of people who've built really big businesses, and you don't have to build a business. You could decide you want to work in a different industry and go for it, because we've all got transferable skills.
Yeah.
All of us. I'm saying, but our mums have mega skills.
Yeah.
It's the mindset that you have as to whether or not you can apply it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think what you want from it as well, and you're right, it doesn't have to be, I have to suddenly have a purpose-driven business and change the world. It might be you just want a better life, like you say, move to the place you've always wanted to. Actually, you used the word before, which is the powerful word, prioritize. Like, what are you prioritizing? Yeah. That's the key, isn't it? Oh, so powerful. I love the butt thing. Well, I have now got in my head, I like big butts. I'm going to have to get rid of that somehow.
And I cannot lie.
Where did that come from? When you said that, I was like, why is that song coming in my head?
It's because it's conditioning, right? So you've heard it enough. I
don't know if I've ever heard that song.
You must have heard it. How could you know it if you hadn't known it? You've heard it. Subliminally, that stuck in your head.
Yes.
And so now you've related it. And so what's really interesting about that is that's happening to us all the time. These subliminal messages. So we think we can't. And this is why, again, like, I watch the television I want to watch. Like, I watch movies often, or I might watch a series here and there, but I don't watch television every day. I just don't. And I don't watch the news either anymore because it's just depression. And so then what are these things, what they do subliminally are telling you, life's terrible, nothing's possible. If you tried it, look at what's going to happen. And so I also say about television, I mean, my daughter's in TV, and so I get to kind of get the behind the scenes stuff. And the truth of the matter is with television, and I've got nothing wrong with it, but we are spending our time watching other people live their dreams. What if we were to take back some of that time and start actually living ours or moving in the direction of it?
I just want to leave space there. We've got to absorb that, don't we? What are we filling our time with rather than us just doing what we want to?
Yeah.
Let's leave that there. Let's leave people hanging in that space. I love that so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I've got 3 questions that I have to ask at the end of every podcast to round us up into this place.
Okay.
Fun question. It's fun.
Of course, Ellen. I wouldn't expect anything else.
So what was the book of your Another Door moment or your chapter in your life?
It was definitely Susan Jeffers' Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. There's a part in her book where she says, what we often do wrong, we have a left path and a right path, and we make one of them wrong. And she said, that's just not the truth. It's a case of, if we go down this path, we're going to learn some things. We may gain some skills. And even if we find it's not what we really want to do, we can take a different path. But let's stop making it a right path and a wrong path. And let's start recognizing it's just a path.
Well, I've read that book. I don't remember that. Now you're making me feel like I want to read it again. There are some books, aren't they, when you just read them again and you see different things. Wow, that's very visual. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. Now I've got another book on my books to read list. My million books to read.
Okay.
The next question, the soundtrack of your Another Door.
Okay. The song that always comes to mind every time, I'm Every Woman. Whitney Houston version. What I love about that song is because that's the thing that we should be doing, is like pay tribute to the people who have allowed us to be able to be here.
So someone's listening now, they've resonated with all sorts of things we've actually talked about, because a few doors. And what's the one piece of advice or wisdom that you'd like to share?
Okay, the one piece of advice, you are possible. That is it. And because if you recognize that you are the key to everything, then you start to see your possibilities. If you think it's in everybody else's hands, then you're always going to see that it can't happen because I'm waiting on this person or that person. But actually, you are possible. You determine what the possibilities are. You determine what the priorities are. You are possible. That would be my last. And now that makes me think of Kim Possible. God, we're a mess. But yeah, that would be it. You're possible.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for coming on. That has been it's had more twists and turns than a Eddie Izzard stand-up routine. Love it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for also just creating this space, because I think these conversations are super. So well done you, Eleanor Twiddle.
Oh, thank you very much. And I shall put in the notes where people can find you and follow you and find out more about things like the Compass Club and the books and everything that you do. So thank you so much. Are you looking for somebody to help you rethink your work? Are you looking for somebody who has got something to say, something different, Perhaps you're creating an event, you've got a conference coming up, and you're looking for speakers or workshops that really get people rethinking. Check out our platform with fresh new voices and people who've got something to say. Come and see us at recommended.anotherdoor.co.uk. Love this podcast? Give us a 5-star review or rate us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.